Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to thank SGA, Epic, and Freelateral for having me here today. Let me just try. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about my final PhD project that I did a couple of years ago at the Faculty of Applied Arts here in Belgrade. So the topic of the whole project was the consideration of new technologies which are impacting how films are being made, mostly focusing on film production design or, well, scenography. And also the idea was to create to create a digital scenography which is going to be consumed by the audience virtually. So the starting point was a review of film history, first film experiments, first the evolution of the film language, and also the introduction of new technology which changed the way how films are being made. Even though filmmaking has changed throughout decades, its consumption stayed relatively the same. By the rapid development of VR technology, we are able now to incorporate the viewer to be an active participant in a film. So I covered this in the whole paper of the doctorate dissertation, but the main part was the creation of the digital scenography. And at the end, at the exhibition, the viewers could have experienced it virtually. So everything starts with inspiration and with an idea. And I was inspired by these two gentlemen, the Lumière brothers, and the story behind one event that they made back in 1896 in Paris when they first time shown their 10 films. And one of those films was the entrance of a train to La Grande Ciotat train station. And this one unedited 1 minute shot of a train just entering a station had created this urban myth where people in panic started to run towards the exit. So with this, and also with VR, with just then the production, well, the HTC Vive and Oculus Rift just came out back in the 2015. I wanted to create a virtual reality experience inspired by this event. So incorporating the viewer inside a film, can we now name it a film, or is just like some kind of a new model of expanded media? So first things first, I created this kind of like pipeline, which is like the idealistic step-by-step way how to create a virtual set. So I wanted to first of all gather as much references as I could. Also, at the same time, start with some first sketches of the interior and also design of the whole space. Afterwards, I wanted to also incorporate the two brothers inside the film, model them, look at, well, texture them, do grooming, clothes, and all that. And at the end, import everything into Unreal, optimize it, and we'll make it work. So that was the idea at the first. Also, I did storyboards for the whole thing. I was using, well, the knowledge of, well, standard practice of creating films is just like creating shots and all that. But with VR, the problem is that if you take control of the camera from the viewer, well, the viewer is going to have a really, really bad time because they'll start to vomit or they're going to be nauseated. So the whole thing was just sacked at the end because I couldn't use it. But now I'm going to use this for a trailer, and one day I will create that. Sav always asks me when I'm going to make the animatic, but one of these days. So the first thing was gathering references and the first sketches. So for reference gathering, well, I used, well, Google, of course, and I wanted to gather as much as I could. So I had like PDFs or catalogs from museums, auction houses, and so on. So I can see I wanted to find the pieces from that time period, which is like 1940s, 1950s. The thing is that the whole story was about the younger brother trying to reincarnate his older brother who died through, well, retro sci-fi technology and film magic. So when I did that, I started to do like first sketches of the space and to plan out how it's going to look. Then I started to, well, create the whole space. So this is like the final thing of the exterior, but this is just like the title over it. Okay. The first thing was the exterior. So there were like two levels. The one level I will explain later, but the second level was divided between, it's like the exterior of a garden, and you can enter the studio inside. The building on the left is the Lumière Brothers Museum in Lyon. And when I started to create that, Corona started. I couldn't go to Lyon and take pictures, so I used a bunch of different references from Google Street View, pictures from tourists, and all of that. And I started to create that house. Also I closed this whole garden with walls, just so I wouldn't have to model the exterior well, to use like to design the forest behind that garden wall. So these are like step by steps with block out and testing of lights and all of that. And at the end, it looked like this. So this is where the viewer starts their like virtual experience. So after that, I started to work on the interior. The idea for the interior was to have like this vast kind of warehouse space where you could, because this whole interior of the studio, the Lumière brothers used, like during the day, they used it to show like pictures to the audience. And at night, they used it for experiments. So the whole thing should have had a lot of space, because there was like a lab, this part where they used this like sci-fi projector and all of that, and also a living room space and so on. So I use this reference, which you can also see it in Martin Scorsese's movie Hugo. This is library Sainte-Geneviève in Paris, and it was designed by Henri Labroue in 1851. Why they like this construction is because it was modular. So because I was the only guy who was creating the whole thing, I had to wear many hats. So also like for modeling, I need to be fast, and also to do the modeling, do the UVs, do the light maps, because before I started this project when there was no nanite lumen, there were no megalights and so on. So I had to do all that. So I like this because it was modular, so I could use it again and again and create this whole space. And also I found a lot of references from back then, which he drew. So it was quite easier for me to just create this whole like construction of the roof and all that. And at the end, it looked like this. But when you import, when lights enter and all that, it looks like this. So also the thing is that the Unreal Datasmith helped me a lot, because everything here was done in 3ds Max and ZBrush. So in Max, you can create like instances, which you can then export to Unreal, and that's really, really easy to go back and forth, which I did a lot for optimization, if something looked odd and so on. So it really helped a lot. These are some shots from like testing of the interior when I started to fill it with props. I also was testing out the lights. So you can see on the upper right. So this like line is the place where the rail tracks come out. So this is going to be in the trailer. I'm spoiling it, but whatever. The thing is that they're trying to transport things outside the films. So this is the rail track which will like catch the train, which will come out of the projector. And this was the test shot of that opening scene. So there were a lot of like, first of all, like modeling, UVing, texturing, and all that, and then afterwards rigging. I am not a rigger and I'm not an animator, so I learned this as I went. I still don't. So, but yeah, rigging animation is really hard. Yeah. So at the end, it looked like this. So this is like the lab part. This is the like this big generator because they're doing the experiments, so they needed like an independent power supply. Dark room for developing films, and that's one part. And the other part, okay. The other part is the living room where they hang out with each other, with the family, and so on. So the props, as I mentioned, so gather a lot of references, and well, just start modeling and creating the assets. So this is like whole like different parts of the lab props and boxes, cabinets. Also, old props from back then from Thomas Alva Edison's cinematoscope, Lumiere's one of their first projectors, and so on. So I want to create this big like generator. So I found this diesel generator which was used in a U-boat during the World War II. It was made by Maschinenwerk Mannheim, and I just scale it up a bit because I created it and then scale it up a bit just so it looks like strong. It was also helpful for me to see how it works because I saw that how the pistons worked and so on that. So when I modeled it, I rigged it, and it works. And it looked at the end like this. And as I mentioned, the other level was the landscape, the virtual landscape, where I wanted to also incorporate the viewer. I created this with World Machine. Today you can use Gaia. It's much better, even though World Machine is also a good program. It's a node-based program where you can generate, well, landscapes and simulate millions and millions of years of erosion, thawing, and all those things which the Earth does. And you create albedo maps, height maps, flow maps, and all that. Export that to Unreal. For now, it looks like this in World Machine, but at the end, it looks like this in Unreal. This was also one of the test shots. You can see there is no railway, no nothing. I also wanted to create this smoke, which was not that successful, but I just wanted to test out the shot, how the mountain is gonna look and all that. And at the end, because the whole thing, I changed the whole thing for the final project, is that you begin here and you're standing at this railway, and that after a minute or so, a train hits you. And it was quite a, there were a lot of people who just stood there like looking like this, and it was totally fine, but some people just ran away. One of my friends, she hit her head on the wall because she started to run. So it was semi-successful. And at the end, actors, I created the Lumière brothers, and because the usual thing is today, like at 3Latter, you have scans of actors, but because unfortunately these two gentlemen are long gone, I used well, likeness sculpting. And even though their dad was a photographer, there are really not so much photos of them online. So I tried to gather as much as I could. These are some of the first tests with modeling, texturing, doing the grooming, and testing it in the shot. I use Ornatrix for hair and, well, fuzz and everything. And yeah, thing is, Epic really provides a lot of free projects. And because this was before MetaHuman, but there was this like free project of this Australian guy who he has a podcast about VFX. There was the project with him, so I used that project to reverse engineer what I needed and how I needed to optimize the hair, the textures, how to create the material for subsurface scattering, and so on. And then I realized that the material, the shader, if I wanted to look like that, I needed mobile mobile lights, movable lights. And when I changed those lights from static to movable, the whole scene just from 100 FPS, 120 FPS just dropped to like 20 FPS, and everything started to stutter, crash. So the whole thing, the whole idea, I wanted to have the actors inside the scene. I couldn't. So at the end, it was just a walkthrough through this whole scene. And yeah, these are some like low poly, high poly bakes, different maps. Oh, sorry, yeah, also clothes. So I also had to model the clothes. So this is, I use Marvelous Designer, of course. These are some of the tests, which were, well, as you can see, it started good, but at the end, it just went through all of that. I just wanted to see how the clothes are going to work. So the problem was with the hands. And yeah, I think that's that. At the end, I just optimized everything. At the same time, well, parallelly, as I was importing and adding props and so on, I did also nav meshes. I did tests with baked lights and so on. And at the end, it was semi-successful. It was not that interactive, but it was a walkthrough. So I learned a lot, and it was quite an experience. So merci beaucoup, y'all, and that's it.